Hi everyone, this is Amy Major with Spirit Rescue Talk. We are doing a little bit of a Halloween special this time around. I know it's been a while since I've kind of been on and done an interview or just any type of discussion. I have been very busy and more to talk about that later down the line, as I will have new guests as well as a lot of coaches that are working with me with rescue mediumship, spirit rescue studies. But tonight we are going to talk with GiGi. We have a wonderful Halloween special in store for you, where we're going to talk a lot about the different things that kind of revolve around celebrating Halloween, the Day of the Dead, other traditions that people really kind of explore, a lot of paranormal games, a lot of ghost hunts, a lot of things that people do. And we're here to provide necessary tools that you're going to need to be able to not only protect yourself, protect others, but just stay safe in general, so you can have a really great time. So today my guest is GiGi. She is a shamanic healing practitioner, also a medium, and an intuitive, and also most importantly, my friend. So I want to introduce her to you. Hi, GiGi. How you doing?
Hi, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. This is fabulous.
Well, this is, I think, your second time on. We had such a great time the first time, or is this the third time on?
I think this is the third time.
Third time. This is how much I love her. So this is why we're going to have her on. We have a lot to discuss today. I know you and I have been talking over the last few months about coming up to the Halloween season for so many people and the things that they kind of get involved in. So I really, before we go into that discussion, I want a little bit of a review so people can say, who is GiGi? Who is this wonderful woman with all these wonderful things behind her? So tell everyone a little bit about you so they have an idea of why you're just so wonderful.
You're so sweet. My name is GiGi. My native name is Mimosa Spiwi, which is Walks with the Earth. I am with the Coasec, the traditional band of the sovereign Abenaki Nation. I am a shamanic healing practitioner in the tribe. And I've also grown up with, like many of you out there, with the abilities. And I've been told to hide them, and they always come back because it's part of who we are. And I had the fortune of meeting Amy. I actually met Amy. Another person in our shamanic healing class had talked about you. And so you're famous. You're famous. And it is through connecting with Amy that I continue to learn. It's just one of the most wonderful processes is growing as a healer, is the continuation of learning.
It really is. You know, we always say we never stop learning. We never stop growing and going through many different modalities, because it teaches us a little bit about who we are and what we want, but it also teaches us what we don't want. And we're going to talk a lot about that today, as far as getting ourselves more involved in certain activities, even studies. They may take us down a road that's a little dense, a little heavy, that we may feel a little uncomfortable about. Now, as a lot of people know, though, we do a lot of heavier work in the mediumship and the healing modalities. I also do a lot of psychic work, a lot of mediumship work, so does GiGi. So we don't only work in the heavy, dark energies only because we have to, because it's needed, but we also talk and work very much in the light. And I do a lot of psychic mediumship readings, and I'm feeling all their energy coming in already. As we started talking before, I'm like, oh, here they come, here they come. So we do a lot of work in both the light and the dark. The dark work is mostly intended for protection, for healing, to purge the darkness from individuals, whether they're personal wounds or psychic attack or spiritual attack, and also to help wounded souls, which we call earthbound souls, that are wounded, lost, scared, and we help them heal as well. So to say you work in the dark doesn't mean you are dark. It means you're so full of light that you're able to go into the dark and be able to hold your own, because you have that much light inside of you. You have that much power inside of you to be able to go into the dark and radiate that beautiful light and be able to guide, be the guiding light for so many people that need help and healing. So this is what we really specialize in. Because of that, Gigi and I really want to talk a lot about the possible dangers that a lot of people can get involved in. And Gigi, I wanted you to kind of discuss a little bit with some people as far as why things can be dangerous and who would sort of get involved in those type of dangerous situations.
There seems to be more of a movement where people are realizing that either they have the ability or they are new to the ability or they don't realize it. And there are many that just sit down and try and connect to spirit, the spirits out there. And I'm noticing a lot, and I even had the problem. I actually had to learn from my shamanic teacher about setting boundaries. And boundaries is like the number one thing that needs to be done to not only protect yourself, but if you have other people around you and you're doing this, and it's a fun thing to do for like a Halloween party, it could be affecting other people.
Right.
Intention with the boundaries is the number one thing. And just think of putting a white light, circle of light. It could be a triangle, it could be a square. There is no wrong way to put the light around you or what shape it is. It's what you're called to do, what you're guided to do. And by having that, first of all, you're setting your intention that, one, I am going to be safe. And within that, you set your intention. What are you going to do? What is your purpose of setting this? What are you doing connecting to the spirits? I did talk to one woman who, and this was a while back, who said that she was connecting. I said, who are you trying to connect to? She said, oh, I just want to connect to any spirit. I said, well, you're going to get bum rushed. Number one, you're going to get bum rushed with a lot of spirits, but two, you don't know who these spirits are.
Right.
You don't know their intentions. Are they of higher vibration? Are they of lower vibration? Do they need healing? So the boundary issue, especially around the games and things that people are doing for fun for Halloween, is actually quite serious.
Well, I think one of the thing is when they say I want to talk to any spirit, what they're not stating is that they have expectations that when they say they're going to talk to any spirit, these particular spirits are coming because they personally know them. So they're not thinking, I'm just going to invite any spirit that's around, or what we call earthbound soul. I'm just not going to, invite anybody like a stranger. These spirits know me. So I'm just like, I just want to see who's here, and I want to see who's around, who wants to talk to me, or let's just see who wants to step in. They have that expectation of thinking this is a familiar spirit. What they don't realize is that most of the time you have the familiar spirits on the higher plane. The higher plane is much higher in vibration than us here in the physical world. So if you don't set intention to go to that higher plane, then you're just opening up the door to anyone that you don't know. And that's where the danger lies, don't you think?
I agree with you. Yes, it does. And that's where, from the shamanic, from the way we work for the healings, a lot of times a person can get an energy in them from having a lower vibrational, and it can actually cause physical symptoms. So it's important to have the boundaries in place if this is something someone is choosing to do.
Well, what kind of boundaries do you think you could suggest for people? Like, what steps could they take for boundaries?
I can describe what I do. When I am connecting to spirits for somebody, the first thing I do is I cleanse my whole area. You can do it with, as my lovely teacher says, you can use it's the intention. If you don't have sage, you don't have Palo Santo around you, you can use your hands. The intention can be through your hands. Me waving my hands through the air is cleansing. It is clearing my space. Singing bowls, toning can work as well. And once that space is cleared, I personally then go in and set a circle. And within that circle, I ask the Great Spirit to be with me, my guides to be with me, my whole spirit team to be with me, to help guide me. And also that would include my protectors, my power animals, the healing and compassionate spirits.
Right.
And then from there, I have the gatekeeper that will you can let in one person. Some people choose two, but that will keep that circle of protection in place.
Now,
I
when
know
you say
there are many
circle of
ways to do it.
what do you mean by circle of protection? Is this like something you visually do, or do you actually put a circle?
I visually do it, but I take my sage and I also go around in a circle. And I am asking Creator, the Great Spirit, to place a circle of light, of loving light around me for protection and for the boundary setting.
Right. Now, one thing that I've always advocated is that bringing that beautiful light around you is wonderful. It's a wonderful tool to help adjust your vibration and set intention. The one thing, I go a little step further though, the one thing I highly suggest is put a color to that light. And quite often, a lot of people use the white light because it's the highest vibration. But what they don't understand is when you are getting swarmed by earthbound souls, you put that white light around you, that creates more of a beacon. There's nothing more penetrating, enticing to the earthbound soul than the white light, because that's what they're looking for. So if you're surrounding yourself with that beautiful white light, you now become very open and very much seen to the earthbound souls around you. They think you are the light that they're searching for. They don't realize there's a body inside that light, and when they step into that white light, they may step into you. So I always say put a color of intention in that light, whether it's gold or silver or pink or green, whatever color you feel is your protection color, or a color that says, I'm in my power, I know who I am, I know I'm protected by the loving light of God, and I'm going to set intention in this light to say, I'm off limits. You can't come into my energy. I do care about you. I do hope that you find your peace and your healing, and hopefully a rescue medium can come and help transition you into the light. But right now, I just want to be safe. So what's your safety color? Just whatever it is, just imagine that beautiful color around you. Set intention. Intention is to state something to be true that you believe. And when you state that belief in your energy, it radiates around you to tell all these earthbound souls that's what you believe, that's what you know, and that's what you'll accept and allow. And so all these earthbound spirits should, according to spiritual law, follow that intention. What else do you think would be a good suggestion for people to set boundaries, as far as maybe they're going into a haunted location, such as a ghost walk or a cemetery, which I'm not a big fan of the cemetery walks for many reasons. Ghost walks are fine because they're very historic, but you can still have a lot of pop-ups of earthbound souls around you. Residual energy you can walk into could just be just as penetrating as an earthbound soul. What type of suggestions do you have for people on those particular types of walks?
There are I've known people to wear medallions. They've carried crystals with them, tourmaline. They put up protection before they go. And I know a lot who actually have carried salt with them. So there's different physical objects that, as well as doing that protection of light. And I would do the same thing. I would do the protection of light, and as you had stated, adding color to it, because then you've got your circle of protection around you. And if you have friends and family with you, you can also include them in it as well.
Or as long as it doesn't invade their free will.
Right, exactly. Yes, you have to get permission first.
Yes, very much so. It's hard because you just want to have fun. You're like, you want to get scared. You're like, yes, I'm here. I'm just walking. I want to see a ghost. And it's a lot of fun. Like the last thing you want to think of is, oh, I got to put this light around me and I have to get protected. But the truth is, you don't think about it until you really need it. And then when you really need it, it may not work anymore. So now you have to go into, instead of you're protecting yourself, self-preservation and clearing. So now that we know they're kind of in this location, they really haven't done what they're supposed to do, because most people don't, because most people aren't trained. what suggestions do you have for people if they're kind of feeling under the weather ever since they went on that ghost walk, or they're getting headaches, they're feeling really fatigued? What would be some ways for them to tell if maybe they did bring something home with them?
And it depends on their level of skill. So, the pendulum, the divination tools are very helpful. To
Right.
me, they're very helpful in finding out information, if you need to know, or sitting down and connecting can do that too. And in that case, if you do have something, you can also ask for help.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with asking for help. I have done it myself. If I need help, I'm the first one calling somebody going, I need help, or I call on my spirit team. I
Well, I
need help.
think it's easy for us to ask for help, but most people that are getting involved in these ghost walks and these tours and these paranormal activities, not a lot of people around them believe in the paranormal or the spiritual field. So they don't always feel capable of asking other people around them. They're like, who do we go to? Who do we ask? It's like they don't know. They can go to a shaman, they can go to an energy healer, they can go to a rescue medium, they can go to a psychic medium if psychic mediums will believe in this, because a lot of people don't. But there are many resources for people to go to, but go to your friends, and don't think that you're going to be embarrassed. Don't think people are going to judge you, because the truth is, I want to say half of the people on this planet have had some type of experience, paranormal or spiritual or metaphysical in nature. So people are going to be a little bit more understanding than they've been in the past. Yeah, 100 years ago, maybe not so much. But guess what? The year 2023, we are more enlightened, more open, more desensitized to a lot of these things. So it's feeling that we're able to talk about it a little bit more, and having these discussions like Gigi and I are having, that you'll know that there are resources out there for you to be able to do it. I do want us to discuss maybe some symptoms that people should look out for, such as they do want to go on these walks or do these paranormal activities. What can they look out for to kind of say, am I compromised? Am I not compromised? I always say, know yourself, know your energy, know your constant vibration. And when things shift a little bit out of that vibration, when things feel a little off to you, this would be the first indication. You might want to check yourself. What other symptoms, Gigi, do you think people should really kind of look out for?
There's change in thought patterns.
No, that's a
Yes,
good one.
yeah, there can be change in thought patterns. The big ones you've mentioned are the physical symptoms, which can be headache, exhaustion, nightmares or dreams. You're getting all kinds of crazy dreams. And it's more of a feeling. It's more, it's true. You're right. One must know yourself, because you can tell when something is you can tell immediately when something's off.
Yes.
But the
Very
thought patterns are a big one. You'll find different thought patterns. Maybe something comes out of your mouth you're saying, and you're like, wait a minute, I have never said that before. So things like that.
Right. I think also having friends and family that can kind of be your reflection. If they start saying things to you like, what's off with you? Your energy, you feel different, or is everything okay? Something just doesn't feel right to me. These are indications that your friends and family are sensing changes around you as well. We may not always notice these changes because life gets us busy. We get really distracted with many things that are happening in our life, but our friends and family know as well. Sometimes a little bit too well. So they're going to be like, what's going on here? What's going on with you? Pay attention to that. Don't shrug it off and go, oh, I'm just under the weather, or, I'm just feeling really achy, or just not feeling like myself. But you keep thinking it's one thing when really it's something else. These are sudden changes that happen out of the blue for no reason. Other than illness, not many things happen very quickly to you. They're kind of onset over a certain course of time. But when you're just finishing up something paranormal, and within the next few days, you start seeing major changes that start happening not only to you, but your environment, these are indications something might be going on. So pay attention to the red flags, pay attention to what other people are saying around you. And I know when people go on these paranormal excursions, it's not always ghosts that people encounter. Do you want to give a little bit of an idea of what people might be coming across with other than just an earthbound soul?
Well, there's all kinds of energies out there. So there are entities, we in the shamanic world, and maybe there are some that do this, but we don't use the word evil. We just use lower vibrational. And they can be actually a nature spirit. A nature spirit can attach.
Right.
It just depends on where you're going. So there's nature spirits. I actually had to help a nature spirit get back to where it belonged. It had followed us home. And I woke up to whistling sounds, and I'm like, okay, something's here. Something's here. And by the second night, I realized, okay, we've got a tree ant in here. Okay, I said to my husband, we have to get this poor thing home. It just wants to go home. But it made enough racket that it can freak you out.
Mm-hmm.
In turn, will lower your vibration, which in turn can also cause other things, to come in. So I mean, it's a balance. It has to be a balance.
Well, the one thing that I see a lot in the entertainment, and I love the entertainment, don't get me wrong. But one thing I see is they're always advocating or explaining it's either a ghost or it's a demon. There's nothing in between. There's nothing outside of it. It's just those two things. And I have to tell you that I've seen much more than just a ghost and a demon. And we even have classifications of different types of earthbound ghosts, as people will call them. And then we have many different types of demonic entities. And then we have things outside of that most people don't even realize. So something that might be really dense or scary or something they're unsure of. And the truth is, most people are afraid, whether they should be afraid or not, just because they don't understand. All they know is that it feels very heavy and like, oh, it must be a demon. So they immediately go into that place of fear. They immediately go into that fight or flight. I need to get this thing away from me. Oh my gosh, everything is evil. And the truth is, that's not always true. We have elementals, we have magical creatures, we have interdimensional entities, we have multidimensional entities, we have ETs, we have earthbound spirits, we have manifested entities, demonic entities, and everything in between, as well as many different things that we've never even seen before because of our shift in vibration. There are many cracks leading to many different worlds, many different realities of things we've never seen before. So if we're going to only ghost or only demon, think there's 100 other forms of entities that are also swimming around us, trying to figure us out, trying to kind of get engaged in our activities because they're like, oh, this is kind of cool. And you think, demon, demon. And then you set that intention out in your vibration that says, this is a demon. And I was like, sure, I'll be one. And then they just start following suit with what a demonic entity would do. And it's not. So I'm not saying people have to really educate themselves on the different forms of entities out there. People just need to stop saying it's a demon, because the truth is most demons have actually left our planet. They're not even in our reality anymore. We have many other creepy crawly things that are out there that are just as bad, but they weren't the original demonic entities that we had thousands of years ago. Mm-hmm. So I don't think we really need to get into the details of these entities, but just to say that they're out there. For sure. Now, GiGi and I were also, before discussing this and getting on, we were talking about movies and different shows that are out there. Do you want to talk a little bit about the different shows that people could watch that could be a little harmful?
Yeah, there's a ton of them out there. I notice every Halloween there's always a new batch, and they seem to get gorier and gorier.
Unfortunately.
We just had our child sit down to watch Hocus Pocus, 80s movie, it's okay, it's going to be fine. And right. The first thing she's like is, well, can I draw a pentagram on the floor? And I'm like, no. I did a little calmer for her, but I said, no, it's not a good idea, because the intention then is that you're opening a portal. Right. And I said, you don't need to open a portal, because you don't know. It's like, why not? It's like leaving your front door open for a week. Leave it open, see what happens,
Mm.
And we also, when we are watching things on television, because I remember discussing with you that spirits are energy. Energy has no boundaries. It can travel through anything. And so let's say you're watching Ghost Adventures and they're screaming at a demon, we don't know where that energy is going. We don't know what that's calling in, even though it's already been filmed. And so there is the importance of setting an energy field or boundary around whatever electronic you're watching this on, because you don't want anything coming from this. And I was taught this about, I think I told you 17 years ago, in a ghost hunting class that we were part of. And you don't need something else coming in. I've had things come in through computers. Just by being on a psychic page on Facebook, somebody had something dark up. Next thing I know, I got someone walking around the kitchen touching everything at 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, no. So it's important to have those energy fields of protection.
Right.
And it just takes a couple seconds to do it. As long as the intention's there, then you have that protection. I always add, and my daughter does it too, is no spirits, no energies from this program can step past this boundary into our home.
Yeah, I think people need to understand a little bit of why, because they're going to sit here and they're going to listen and they're like, oh, that's great, but why? If they don't understand it, then they won't believe it. And
Right.
so I asked Spirit, what's the best way to describe and explain why it happens? And they said, well, the human condition is so used to believing in anything that it physically sees, and you're living in a physical reality. So these walls that are around us, they're physical matter. Your consciousness has become accustomed to believing those walls are a barrier of protection and nothing can get through it. Your television screen is a barrier of matter that nothing can get through. You believe these walls keep you safe. The truth is, the walls don't exist. In the spiritual and paranormal world, these spirits, ghosts, entities exist beyond your physical matter. They don't even see the walls, so they don't exist for them. And when these entities or spirits are floating around in their stream of consciousness, they don't exist in time. So when you're watching a broadcast, and it was from a few years ago, guess what? It's now. Because that spirit senses your vibration penetrating into their world because you're paying attention to them. They now see you just as much as you see them. And they see you now. At the moment of you watching that, time does not exist. Reality in which you live does not exist. Those walls do not exist to that spirit. And so they're now moving into your world, into your time, into your space, and you have set up no protection. So watching all of these shows has put you right in the front row seats of that spirit seeing you as much as you're seeing them. What happens when a spirit sees you? They get curious. Who is this person? Why are they focusing on me? Why do they have their attention on me? I'm going to come a little closer. I'm going to see who is this person. And they step into your reality, into your space, time, and matter, because they can do that in the dimension they're in. And now they're in your space. They're looking around and like, oh, this is kind of cozy. I'm kind of liking this. And then you're in that vibration of watching that show, which is lowered because you're a little scared, and fear always puts you at a denser vibration. You're in that place of fear, and now the earthbound ghost is like, what a comfortable place to hang out. And now you have them. And GiGi, let's give them some suggestions and ideas, and also ways to tell that may have been invaded when they're watching these shows. What may have come through that screen, because the screen doesn't exist to them. They've come through that place, through the electronic energy that has now put them in the placement where actually space doesn't reside or does in reality for them. So your space that you're sitting in doesn't exist to them. Time doesn't exist to them. All exists is the now and your vibration and your intention. That's it. That's the only thing that exists to them. So how can people tell that they've been kind of not necessarily invaded, but someone's kind of wandered into their space and is now paying very much attention to them? And how can they tell that this has actually happened?
And it depends on their sensitivity level. I've felt myself being watched. So I mean, one, you can feel, you feel like you're being watched. Two, you can hear things. You hear things that aren't, if you're in this room, in your room over here, and you're hearing something clink and move over there, and there's no one else in the place, okay, you have to question it. You're going to question it. What's making that noise? A lot of times I've felt the energy of the spirit, and I'm thinking, okay, this is not normal in our living space. I'm sure you've got more ideas. I've got just the three main ones because of what I've had to deal with. And like I said, when 2:00 in the morning, I couldn't sleep. I'm on Facebook and I'm joining, different groups, because I'm like, oh, let's look at the psychic. There was a psychic, because there's a lot of psychic medium groups. There's a lot of, and this is before I saw your page, and because this was like years ago. And within a matter of minutes, it just felt different. It felt completely different. And of course, I'm not trying not to freak out, because I knew if I freak out, then your mind starts hearing other things at times. That your mind is very powerful. But when I started hearing things being moved around, and I started seeing the energy was just heavier.
Right.
So, I mean, there's other ways that a person can tell. It varies from person to person. Some people do, feel the energies. It just depends on how sharp those senses are, because, we both know that if you haven't exercise that psychic medium muscle, it needs to be exercised so it builds up more, and so you become more aware.
Well, that's the thing. Most people haven't done that. Right. Most people don't want to do that because they're like, I don't want to be a medium. I don't want to be a psychic. I just want to watch the show. So they're not going to have those things kind of popping up for them. If, oh, I'm going to see a ghost, I'm going to hear a ghost. Most people have no clue that's around them. But I also want to say there's a lot of people that are awakening to their abilities that start watching these shows because they don't know where else to turn. So they're already holding the energy of being a medium or psychic or even a healer. And they're like, oh, this is something I'm gravitating towards because it's like energy attracts like energy. I'm being moved to watch this because I'm exploring the idea of awakening my abilities. But there's a lot of people out there that just want entertainment. It's those people that need the heads up. And so what I usually do is always say, pay attention to how you feel first, because we all have something called this beautiful energy field around us called an aura. This aura, an energy field, is our first line of defense. It is accustomed to the vibration of your natural state and your environment. The moment someone walks into your room, whether it's a person or a ghost, your energy field is going to feel a shift. It's going to feel a difference. It's going to be like, hey, wait, I feel something different over here. And it starts alerting to you. There's something new, a new vibration that's walked into your space. You're going to feel it when someone's angry or upset or happy, whatever the emotion is, you're going to feel it in this energy field. What we're telling you what to expect is feel heavy, feel a denseness, feel like somebody just walked into your room, but there's no one around. And this is your energy field telling you, alert, 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 there's incoming, there's incoming energy, pay attention to this. And most people don't. They're like, oh, it's just spooky, scary. My mind's kind of thinking these things are really happening. But the truth is your mind doesn't think of anything that isn't real. Your mind cannot imagine it if it doesn't exist somewhere. So it is existing, whether it's with you or with on the other side of that TV screen, it exists. Otherwise, you would not be picking it up. You would not be feeling it. Just because you don't physically see it doesn't mean it's not there. Most of the time, we never see what's there because our eyes only see a certain amount of images and energy. So pay attention to how you feel. Next thing, pay attention to what's going on in your environment. Because most likely they're checking out your space. They're like, where's the kitchen? Is there any fried chicken? What is it going on? They're looking at your space. So pay attention to what your environment is doing around you. Then start paying attention to how you feel. Do I have a headache? Do I have a stomach ache? Do I have heart palpitations? Do I have ringing in my ears? Do I feel really heavy all of a sudden? Do I feel dizzy? These are all different physical symptoms that something is pushing in a little deeper into that energy field and wanting to get just a little too close to you. This is when you need to say, okay, something's here. I don't see it, but you know what? I feel it, and that's enough for me because Amy Major told me so. I'm gonna feel it, and I'm gonna now send it away. And this is where they now need to set intention to hold their space. And I think we also need to tell people a lot about their sacred space and what they should or should not allow, because that feeling of that spirit coming into their space is essentially invading their sacred space. Their home, their environment is their sacred space. So if you have somebody just stepping in because you've stepped into their world, they're stepping into yours, you have the right to choose whether you allow this or not. You have the choice to choose. And whether, if you do nothing, you are choosing to allow it. If you do something, then you are choosing not to allow it. So I think, Gigi, we need to talk a little bit about how to clear this from them now that they've been alerted that something might be going on. What do you think?
I do. And I have had situations since we've moved into this house. We've been in here about 7 or 8 years, but I had an incident where, and our daughter was really young, so she had a baby monitor in her room, and something woke me up scraping across the monitor.
No.
And I said, stop. You just need to stop. And this was an aggressive spirit. It was an, earthbound spirit. It was an aggressive spirit. And this is before I got further trainings and teachings to, get myself stronger to handle all this. And I ended up avoiding the upstairs as much as possible unless somebody came home. And it was just heavy. It was dark. It was heavy. Our space had been invaded. And every night for about a week, this being would wake me up. And I finally heard it. I told my husband. I didn't tell, obviously I'm not going to tell our daughter, but I told my husband. And it started again the next night. And so I woke him up. I'm like, listen. And he goes, oh my gosh, yes, I hear it. And so I basically told it to, you need to leave. This is my space. This is our home, our space. You need to leave. And it was a man. And he wouldn't leave. And I finally said, you need to get out now. And he said, I'm not effing leaving. With the B word there. And yeah. I'm like, okay, I got to do something else. This isn't working. And I ended up, when he woke me up again, I actually just took a moment, cleared my space, sat down, and I said, you need to go. There's a beautiful place for you to go. You need to cross over. And I started talking to him. And at that point, I called in St. Michael. And I asked for guidance. I asked for protection. And I also asked that St. Michael talk to him. I was talking to the man. He talked to him, and the man went with him, and he was crossed over.
Wow.
So sometimes we have, and it's true, sometimes we have spirits that will ignore those boundaries or test them. If it gets really serious like that, and a person's brand new to it, or they're just like, I don't want to deal with this, because I understand how that feels too. Again, that's where you call in help. Every night I clear the house. I set circle around the house. I call in protection. I put St. Michael in all the rooms, and I have a code of ethics that spirits must follow. If you want my help, you have to respect me. I'm going to respect you, but you have to respect me.
Right.
And that's like, you don't come into my space. This whole house is our space. You don't talk to my family. You don't touch my family. And it's worked. I get occasionally, I'll get someone who'll try something, but it pretty much, it's a good way to clear.
Gigi's putting the smack down. I love it.
I'm like, I'm tired of this.
Yeah. I mean, it's really great to be able to stand our ground with a lot of these spirits. But I also want to remind people that a lot of these spirits that are coming in that might be invading our space, they're attracted to your light. They sense your vibration through that screen and they move toward that light. They move toward that wonderful, bright feeling because they're in a dark space. And of course, you're in a dark space, you see this bright light, just like anything else, we're going to move towards it. So they're moving into your space. Now they're in your space. They're looking around saying, this wasn't what I thought it was, but I'm here now. And you just start yelling at it. You start getting provoking with it and you start fighting against it. Well, this might be a child. This might be a victim. This might be a wounded person that stepped into your space and didn't think they were doing anything. They were just moving from one space to another. Because again, your walls don't exist for them. Your room doesn't exist for them. But when they linger is when you want to get a little bit more pushy to kind of say, okay, I could bring someone in for you that can help you possibly move you into the light, or I could bring someone in that can move you into a jail cell. It's up to you. Because we do have a lot of helpers in the spirit world. A lot of people go to St. Michael. I have actually worked with a lot of security in the spirit side because I am spirit security myself. I do a lot of energy protection for people that are here in the world. I have actually called them personally, and they love the phrase, I call them spirit police because they have their own personal badges. They're like little sheriffs and police officers that are working in the spirit world that oversee spiritual law. That's that law to say a soul can invade your space if you don't want them to, because you as a physical person living in the physical world override any authority, and you have the authority in your space more than a ghost does. So if you have them in your space, you don't want them there, well, you can call spirit police. Just, you don't need to know their names. You don't need to know their frequencies. You just need to see, I set the intention to call in spirit police to be able to be my protector to help shepherd these ghosts out of my home. Because I don't want them here. I'm telling them to go. They're not really doing it. It's kind of like having a party and everyone's coming in like, well, you weren't invited. You need to go. And they don't go. Well, you're going to call. You're going to call the police. Same thing with the spirit world. Call in spirit police, call in the angels, call in St. Michael, call in whoever you feel most appropriate for that time and say, this is invading my free will, my sacred space. I need them to leave now. And so usually when spirit police comes in, the ghost is like, whoa, 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 fine, sure, I'll go. And they happily leave. It's usually not a struggle because now that you've called in authority, you're showing the force of the authority. They're usually going to leave. But I want people to recognize not all ghosts that enter your space are bad. Not all of them are wanting to attack you or hurt you. Quite often, you just brought them in with your light. They're looking for a place of rest, resolution, possibly the light. They're looking for a place to find healing. So don't immediately go for the attack. I used to all the time, always go for the attack. And my guides were like, whoa, Amy, this is like not a person you want to attack. They're wounded. And so I would soften my approach through the years. And now I just like, okay, I understand you need help. I'm going to call in an angel. I'm going to call in a shepherding spirit. I'm going to call in someone that can help you. It's only when they become forceful to you. It's only when they start kind of energetically attacking you, making you feel unsafe. But it's only when they won't leave when you've asked them to, that you want to call in that spirit police, because they're your backup. They can't do anything unless you ask them to. Spirit police can't come and say, I see some ghosts in your house and I'm going to clear them for you. They can't do that. They have to wait for you to invite them in and say it's okay. This is invading your free will. Everything's an invitation. Everything's a choice. So you just need to understand what these choices are so you know what you can do about it, for sure. GiGi, I know you and I were talking a little bit about different tools and different games that people can kind of play. I know you talked about drawing the pendulum, drawing the pentagram on the floor, kind of creating that portal, which they can really do. But you know, the number one tool that a lot of people like to use during the Halloween season, what do you think that is, GiGi?
That's the Ouija board.
There you go. Let's talk a little bit about that. How do you feel about the Ouija board?
Um, I actually had a very good friend who used it, but she set boundaries and perimeters on, there was an intention. And
Good.
so she had it, I got on it with her, and it actually we didn't have anything enter in that was lower vibrational or someone who just came in and just, was around all the time. I when I see and hear people working with a Ouija board, usually, oh, let's just see who comes through. It's like, no. Let's set some perimeters here. Let's set some intentions. With
Yes,
anything, you're going to set intentions.
very much so. Very
Yeah,
much. I mean, a board's a board, right?
right. It's
Kind
what we do with it.
of. It's kind of like, sorta.
Yeah.
I believe that because the Ouija board has been used so often for so long with the same intention, that it's created something called a collective consciousness. That collective consciousness and collective intention is now set with that board. So when you use it, the board already knows what it needs to do through that collectiveness. What is it going to do? It's going to open up a portal to open to spirit activity. Now, it doesn't say, let me think, I only want to bring in relatives. It doesn't know that. All it knows is I'm going to open up a door, and you, the person using the board, needs to set intention of which door it's going to open. This means your vibration and your intention and your boundaries tell the board what doors to open. Otherwise, it will open the most appropriate door. And the most appropriate door is usually a vibration that is very similar to the board's vibration. The board's vibration is dense. It's a physical object. So what do you think it's going to open? A dense door. All those dense doors lead nothing but the earthbound realm and realms much lower than that. So if you're not setting up these protections, then you don't know what door you're going to open. And of course, these boards, they don't come with instructions on how to actually talk to the spirit world. They just give you instructions on how to use it. Say, "Ooh, have fun. Let's make it pink. Let's make it fun. Let's put all these decorations on it. Go have fun," because the spirit world doesn't really exist. It's just your thoughts moving the board. But unfortunately, we know better than that. And we don't have these warnings on these boards as much as we should. They may have started already. That would be really great. But we don't know if they have or not. So a board is a board. A door is a door. You choose which door you open. You can open up doors to very high vibrations with that board. It's really up to you. And that's why I think they're coming up with more what we call spirit boards, angel boards, all these boards that kind of set intention and a vibration of a higher intensity to be able to open up those higher doors. So they are more what I would suggest to use if you are using that. But let's give some people some suggestions to maybe raise the vibration if they are going to use that board, which I know they're going to do because I did it when I was a kid. Stupid as I was, but I was a kid. People are going to do it. So let's give them some protection on what they can do when they're using that board. Well, let's start with tools. What tools can they use to start setting intention with that board? What do you think?
You set space. First thing, clear your space, set your space. Also state the intention. The intention, because your words are power, your words are energy.
Right.
So you want to set intention. The purpose of doing this is I'd like to connect to upper vibrational, family members, don't go there with the, the lower vibrational, but you want to set the intention is like one of the most important things. I always talk about that with my clients too. Setting your intentions is like one of the most important things. Setting your boundaries again is another important thing. Clearing your space is important. The most important thing is when you are done with your spirit board, Ouija board, angel board, close it. Close what's been opened. Please close what's been opened.
Yes.
Don't just get up and fold in. Well, that was fun because you've left an open portal.
Well, what physical objects can you use to set intention?
I've also used crystals. I've used quartz crystals. Again, tourmaline's a good protection stone, as we all know. Rose quartz to bring the love in. You want to raise the vibration around you.
Right.
Also prayer, but we're not talking, doing the necessarily a Christian prayer, but you can, if that raises vibration, If that's what works for you, that raises vibration, because when you raise the vibration in prayer, you're going to attract the higher vibrational spirits.
Well, they have to use what works for them and what they feel comfortable with. They has to mean
Exactly.
something to them.
Yes.
They use whatever prayer they feel comfortable with. Crystals are great. I always say pick up some just quartz clusters. They're real cheap, $10 a bag. What you're going to do is you're going to place them around your board. Just set an intention. Quartz is a charging crystal. You can charge it with a really great intention, vibration, prayer. So when you're holding the quartz crystals, just put them in your hands and state, I ask that these crystals raise the vibration of the board and set intention that only those of the loving light may enter this space and communicate with me at this time. Just something as simple as that. Just place them around the board. Now, I'm a big fan of candles. What do you think of candles as far as kind of setting the mood?
I love candles. I've got spirit candles, which set high, the intentions and high vibrations. I've got the candles with love, the Reiki candles. And so, yes, candles are also a wonderful tool to have.
Definitely. Any particular colors that you're fond of?
I am very fond of pink and blue.
Okay.
light blue, the lighter colors, the uplifting.
Very much so. I love using white candles because white is a symbol of remembrance. And the most of the time when people are trying to use a Ouija board, they're trying to connect to maybe their loved ones in the spirit world. They're like, I can't afford a medium. So let me just go and pick up a board and maybe I could talk to grandpa. I really want him to come in. So I say white candles are a really great tool to set intention for remembrance. White is purity. White is high vibration. So it's kind of like, but also a way to say, I remember you, I love you, I want to communicate with you. What's another great one? Blue. Blue is the color of communication. Let's get a light blue color, and there's the throat chakra energy. Let's bring the light blue in there and kind of set that intention. Pink, like Gigi said, awesome color. For pink, for love, for kindness, for generosity, for all these sweet intentions that we have. Pink is a really great color. Last color I like to use, gold. Gold is that divine light of protection that says, I'm here to be your guide, to be your protector, and I've got your back. It's a really great thing. I go a little extra step. We've got the candles, we've got the crystals, we're setting intention, maybe have some incense going on, kind of have some maybe essential oils, all of these things. Again, they're tools, they're not needed, but these tools are reminders for you to keep your mind focused on high vibrational thoughts. To say, I know I'm protected, and the more you know you're protected, the more you believe it. The more you believe it, the more you radiate that vibration that you're protected. It's all connected. It really is. One extra tool I like to say is, and they don't always love it because they're like, we're not your personal protectors all the time. But I always say, if you're in a space, call in angels to stand on all four corners of your room. Because they're like, okay, if you're going to do this, let's protect you while you're doing this. And I just say, I ask that angels stand on all four corners of my room to protect my space, to protect my circle, everyone involved in this process, not only us, but the spirits included. And that I ask you to support this of a loving embrace and a communication between me and the spirit world. And just allow those angels to come into your space and stand on all four corners to kind of be your guard, to kind of say, this is extra protection to know nothing's getting through that you don't want to have coming through. So these are all the things that I would suggest, other than just asking for your own personal angel, your own personal guide to step in and just help kind of protect the energy of your board, of your space, and of your intention as well. Now, I do want to mention, because I am a spiritualist, we don't use Ouija boards where I come from. We like to use what we call table tipping. Gigi, have you ever had the chance to do table tipping?
I have not. I'm dying to do it. So if you're talking about it, I'm all ears to hear this.
Oh, it's so much fun because it is an old spiritualism practice. People, and they're going to do this at home. I just know it. Okay, I must be prepared for this. It's you want to get a three-legged table. This three-legged, really light table, something a little on the smaller side, like a side table, would be sufficient. And you usually have 3 to 4 people sit around this table, and they just put their fingers on the edges of the table. And what they do is they do the same thing. The angels in the corners, they got the incense, the crystals, they're bringing in their guides. Everything is ready to set intention. You just kind of massage the table, let the table kind of take in your energy, because this table is just a table. It's like, what do you want me to do? So you're charging the energy of the table with your energy, your vibration, which shifts the vibration of the table just so much. That allows the spirits from the other side to anchor into your vibration that you just now put into the table and you're putting in through your fingers. They're using your energy, your energy field, and they're using it as an anchor to come in and communicate to you through this table. They can then move the table. And a tipping is what we call a tipping table. It tips to let you know that they're there with you. Personally, you can only really ask yes or no questions to the spirit world, and it tips the table once for yes and then twice for no. If they don't tip at all, then they just don't want to answer the question. So it's another tool you can use. We've used, because they didn't use these boards in the spiritualist churches, but we loved spirit communication and the physical phenomena of these spirit communications. So we create all these different tools to use. Tipping tables was one of them. So you're going to see, if you see a tipping table event in your area, go. Make sure the medium's protecting everyone, holding space, setting up these parameters like GiGi was talking about. Go and have fun. Go experience the physical phenomena of being able to communicate with the spirit world. That's a lot of fun. But there are other activities that people do during the Halloween season. What about a haunted location, haunted house? And have you been to a haunted house, GiGi, and actually seen a ghost there? Or is it mostly just for fun?
I've actually been part of a ghost investigation team. So we've gone into haunted areas, and I have seen, the spirits. And one of the things I noted personally for myself, if I'm talking to a spirit or a spirit comes to me, I'm going to treat them like I would treat somebody that I would meet at the bank. I'm not going to start screaming at them and telling them, hey, poke me, or anything. So there's a thing of respect that needs to be given, and it goes both ways.
You mean running around yelling at
Oh yeah,
spirits is not appropriate?
Yelling is not. Don't yell. Don't yell. Don't ask them to hit you. Don't ask them to shove you somewhere. So that that they're there. And you see it on TV. I mean, I remember you and I talking about on TV. They're always doing it. Quick. Shove something at. Shove me. Pull on me. Pull my hair. It's okay if you pull my hair. And I'm like, would you if that were a living person, would you have them do that to you?
Well, it's the sensationalism of the shows.
Exactly.
Really.
But I also have seen people do it, in person, and it's like, that's totally disrespectful. I'm very respectful when I enter into any place that is quote haunted.
Right.
It's just like walking into, if we're in a house, and we have officers row here at Fort Vancouver where we are. And I remember walking into it, but before I walked into it, I said, do I have your permission to enter? Because this was someone's home.
Right.
And I actually saw a lady coming down the stairs in 1800s outfit. It's just a matter of being respectful, having your own protection around you. Again, like we keep talking about the importance of protection, and having, what is your intention of going into this haunted house?
Very much so. So they've gone into the haunted location. They brought something home with them. What can they do? What are their options now? They said, whoops. I did protect myself.
Yeah, this would be like what you had mentioned earlier. Watch for symptoms.
Yep.
Watch for what's going on within you and around you. I also pay attention to, like, when we had pets, I paid attention to our pets. Our pets are a great tip off. Yeah. And I mean, I've had the cat hiss at something in a corner, and I finally am like, okay, you're seeing there's something here.
Right.
And I finally saw what it was. It was another cat. It just showed up, and it was another cat. And so I had to move the cat on, because the cat, I don't know where the cat came from. I don't know who it followed one of us home. have no idea, but as you had mentioned earlier, you watch for those physical symptoms and you also watch for how you feel in your environment.
Yes.
Yes.
What are some quick things that they can do to clear their energy if they feel, you know, they've called in the spirit police, they've called in everything, but then there's some that lingers, that lingering energy. What can they do to kind of incinerate that?
There
lingering?
is the first, being Native American, the first thing I do is I sage. I will sage my whole self. I will make sure I'm saged. The other thing is to take a salt bath. I've learned that as well.
Yeah.
Just Palo Santo, anything that will clear that residue energy from you. It's almost like stepping in chewing gum.
Yeah.
You want to get that off your shoe, and you're going to have to use something to get it off of you.
Yes.
Intention of prayer, raising the vibrations. I big on raising vibrations.
I can tell. I love it. I love it. But you know, I think we need to leave our guests with a little something personal. They need to know that they have a spiritual protector that's with them at all times and that they're not alone. So, what are some things that you would suggest? I'll have a few things I suggest that they can do to call to their ancestors, call to their guides, call to their guardian angels. What are things that they can do to call to them and let them know that their prayers have been received and they are truly protected? Because they really are.
Simply, they are all there for you all. Your ancestors, your protectors, your guides, your power animals. We have power animals. They are all there for you. They are just waiting to hear from you. They are part of you, part of your life. And simply by even thinking about them, you're connecting to them. So no one is without, I mean, there are times when a certain power animal will leave or something, but it comes back. There's a way, there's treatments or healing techniques to get that power animal back or to get the guide back. But that spiritual team is there with you. Mm-hmm. They are there with you. They are not leaving you. And a simple thought, a simple lighting of a candle, just the intention of saying, hey, I need you. Right. Will you please help me?
Yes.
And they are there for you. So we are protected. It's whether or not we connect with it, but they're still there. Even if you don't connect with it, they're there. So if you get that bad feeling that you shouldn't go someplace, that's a guide telling you, hey, we may not talk, but I'm warning you, I don't want you over there because I want to protect you.
Yeah. I always tell people they don't always talk to you, they talk through you. Mm-hmm. And so how they speak through you is to give you feelings, alerts, ideas. They represent themselves through your emotions and your thoughts because it's not always you. They work through you. So if you're feeling to go do this, it might be them. If you're thinking to do that, it might be them. So they're always letting you know they are around you. But one little thing I like to do is because I like to have a lot of fun. And one thing that I've always done throughout the years is I've always asked, because I was such a stubborn pain in the butt whenever I was connecting to the spirit world. And I'm like, I need some proof. I need to know that this is real. I need to know you're here. I need to know you got my back because I'm scared. I'm not feeling safe right now. So what I would do is I would start setting up signs and symbols to say, I need to see this. If I see this, I know you're with me, because we live in a very physical world. We rely on things we physically see. It's just who we are. Spirit world knows this. So think of a sign or a symbol that means something to you that you're going to assign your guide or your angel or your ancestors in protection. What you're going to do is you're going to come up with a bird, a coin, a song, a feather, a picture of Grand Central Station. Whatever this is, you're going to come up with a symbol that says, when I see this, I know my guides are with me. And when I see it, it's just reassurance to let me know I'm not alone. I could start breathing again. I could start calming down. I could start knowing that I'm safe and I'm loved. And they may be laughing on the other side because I knew I wasn't supposed to do this, but I know that they're there. And so come up with a sign, a symbol, anything that represents them to you and you to them. It's your bond, it's your relationship. So make it personal to you and have fun with it. It was always The Wizard of Oz, because that's my jam. That's my favorite movie ever since I was like 2 years old, running across the house, need to go see The Wizard of Oz. That's always been my favorite movie forever. So of course, I'm gonna ask the guys, show me The Wizard of Oz. And of course, they get really creative at this point. And now they don't even show me anything anymore because they're like, dude, you hear us just fine. You don't need these signs. But other people may say, I really need to see something. I need to know you're here. So create something that's meaningful to you in your heart. They will hear it, they will see it, and they will do their best to give it to you. So leave you with that, and know you are never alone. Go have fun. Go enjoy yourself. What last words do you have for advice for all our fun loving, crazy people out there that just want to have a good time during Halloween?
Seriously, have a great time. Keep that vibration high, but with the fun part of it. I mean, we've got a graveyard out front. We've got skeletons carrying coffins across the lawn.
Yes.
And it's fun. It's just fun. It makes us smile. Yeah, and with any situation, just be safe and seriously, as Amy was saying, feel.
Yes.
Your guide, your spirit team's going to tell you, hey, this isn't a great idea, and you're going to get that feeling, and that is that communication through you. And you are feeling it, and pay attention to it. And sometimes our mind's like, yeah, but I want to do it anyway. Well, the feeling keeps persisting. Listen to it.
Try to at least, yes.
Yeah.
Very much so. Thank you so much for coming on again. And I know I'm going to have you back. And
well, I had a fabulous time. I learned. This is why I love coming on to your podcast, because I learned something. And I appreciate learning, and I really enjoy learning because there's always something new to learn.
There is very much so. I learned from you as well, and I honor everything that you do in your energy. You're just amazing. You really are. I'm just going to keep hyping her up, guys, and don't let me stop. But I also want to thank every one of you for coming today, watching the show, listening, even though you're like, I don't really want to do this stuff. But you know what? It's here to help you, get you out of trouble, get you in a safe place. Because the truth is that there are dangers out there. You need to just be prepared. No one's saying don't go out in the rain. We're just saying wear a raincoat. That's all we're saying. Just put your protection on and feel like you're going to be safe when you go out to all those creepy, crawly, spooky places that you know you want to go to. And I'm going to say, go for it. Have fun. Enjoy yourself. But most importantly, be respectful. Yes. Be respectful to the spirit world. Be respectful to you and your ancestors and everyone watching out for you. So again, thank you to all of you for watching. Send us some messages, some notes, some stuff in the comments. Let us know what you think. And again, have a happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.